thank you for your time. I saw your very strong speech several months ago in headquarters of NATO. You demand strong sanction against Russia. You demand ban of oil, total ban. What do you think after several months? Do you feel that situation changes? And are you satisfied with it?
Well, we managed to reach certain agreements within the European Union. Lithuania was one of those who wanted more. But as you can imagine, agreeing among the 27 is not a very easy task. So with saying that, I can tell you that we managed to achieve something, and I think that Russia is being hurt with the sanctions that are currently imposed. We are judging that from the reactions that are, whether all of us are hearing from Moscow. But when the question is, should we stop? I think that we should not. We should go further, and Russia has to be isolated completely.
Mm-hmm. What do you think when we will have this isolation, complete isolation, total ban?
It's a continuous process. All of us, Ukrainians, Lithuanians, Poles, whoever is, the heavy pushers. We have to be pushing on that.
Today we see this new strategy concept. Do you satisfied with this document, and you personally feel that now NATO definitely will defend your country in case of such unprecedented aggression like in Ukraine?
Well, it very clearly states that every inch of NATO territory will be defended. This is what American president promised when he was in Warsaw. That every inch will be defended. And there are certain elements of how that will be accomplished. So I have to say that yes, I'm satisfied at this point. We've been working very hard to achieve this result. What now we want to see is the practical results. Now, political commitment is there. Now we want to see practical results of that happening.
Mm-hmm. Ukrainian delegation said that they work on this document with partners. I think maybe with you.
Yeah.
Do you have some information? Do you get some consultation with Ukrainian sides before implementation of these documents?
Well, we're always working with our Ukrainian friends and partners on this occasion and on European issues. So, it's a continuous process.
Mm-hmm. And maybe you feel yourself more confident if some additional troops will deployed in your country?
Absolutely. We're looking for a brigade-sized deployment that we're planning to receive, because we got a promise from our German partners that they are planning this. So now we have to make sure that we are ready to accept it, because it requires also a lot of funding and preparation.
Mm-hmm. And which size of these troops? Do you have some precise
Well,
numbers?
It's usually in NATO. Now we have a battalion. It can be increased to a brigade, which is roughly 3 times bigger.
Mm-hmm. And it would be enough?
It is first of all, it's a deterrent, a serious deterrent, but also it's a defense unit. That means that it can defend already the territory that it's in by its own.
Okay.
What do you think about a personal attitude for the Zelensky statement for today? Because Ukrainian delegation mentioned that Zelensky was at the first panel discussion.
Yes.
It means something in this, diplomatic circles.
Well, absolutely. The Russian war in Ukraine not only showed the true face of Russia, but it also revived NATO. For 4 years, for more years, we've been discussing in NATO. There were the discussions in NATO. What's the purpose of NATO? Do we need NATO at all? What is the future of NATO? President Macron called NATO a brain-dead alliance. So the war revived NATO, and I think that it was a very strong statement by President Zelensky. His main message was that it's not just Ukraine's war; it's NATO's war already. It's against NATO. If not for Ukraine, and the target would be a NATO country. So that gives us a lot of responsibility on NATO's shoulders, to help Ukraine, because you're fighting our war.
And how do you see now the situation with the displaced person from Ukraine to your country? if program changed, or maybe more stay flexible, or people come back to Ukraine, what do you see inside?
I think it's divided. I mean, first of all, not so many people are coming in. I mean that the flow has basically stopped. Well, we're seeing quite a lot of people returning. Some more people choosing to stay. So it's I don't see a tendency yet. It would be difficult to say what is that a tendency, whether everybody will return or some will stay. So we'll see that in the future. But I mean, we're trying to provide as much can and for those who intend to stay.
Mm-hmm. And the last questions. I hear a lot in Europe that a lot of people they complain that because of the sanction we have bills, and I think your country was affected either too with this. But you think this price enough to punish Russia?
So first of all, it's not because of sanctions; it's because of war.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be very clear and very specific about the narrative. So who is to blame? Mm-hmm. It's not the sanctions that are to blame. Russia started the war, it got sanctioned, it's Russia to blame. Mm-hmm. If they stop the war, sanctions are removed. Mm-hmm. So, but my point is that we need not to focus so much on just solely, Ukraine and the issues that are there when we're talking about economy. Mm-hmm. We're able to solve the issues without pressuring Ukraine. We're able to solve energy issues. We're able to solve food issues. We can do this. It's possible to do that. Not kind of to pressure Ukraine and say, okay, if the war would end, then we have lower prices, then we have more gas and more fuel and whatever. Mm-hmm. We can do this without Russia. If we intend to isolate, we need to isolate. We need to find new partners. That's my point.
And price not so high.
I mean, that we are currently paying now?
That you will pay and pay now?
I mean, it is challenging. Everybody would admit that, and in Lithuania we have very high inflation, and we're trying to figure out a way how to deal with it. Government has new programs of how to help people who are facing issues with the high prices. But then again, the solution is not working with Moscow. The solution is working with other partners. That's my point.
Thank you.